Hey, well, welcome back. Here's a 1964 Baja. Kidding. After a lot of work and a lot of thought, I thought, why am I building a Baja when I know how to weld and patch things together? I may not be the best, I may not even be a pro, but I went ahead and put sorry about the picture. I went in and put a 1960s rear end on this car, welded it right up. And now I got to do a lot of body work, but I'm going to turn this into, it's not shutting right. I'm going to turn this into a regular car. Actually, watching Herbie the other night, I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a Speedster. So that's why the wheels inspired by Speedster style. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this beautiful dash original. Probably not paint the doors. Leave the dash, mask it all off. Paint the inside. I don't know if I'm gonna try to do a headliner. I've never done one, but it might be kind of fun to try one just to see on this car. It looks like I might have a lot of Bondo here, but I really don't. It's just spread a long distance across that quarter panel. When you replace quarter panels, it's tough not to use any body filler. You just have to. I took a drill bit in certain areas just to check it out and make sure that it was within spec. They say no greater than 1/8, and so I went less than 1/8 on all that. So it's really feeling fine and smooth. You have to make sure that when you do Bondo, you probably know this, but you got to make sure it feels, there's no transition point. It just feels nice and flush. Right here, I've got some transitions here where I welded, so those will have to be ground out and probably touched back in. The other problem with aftermarket fenders, I got this off a 60s Bug, is look at how this matches up. It doesn't. And so if I come off of the frame here, the original Bug, and that's where they're bolted in, you're gonna be off. So what you have to do is what I did on this other side. It's kind of silly, but I mark where I basically take this fender and I match it to where I want it out back, because I want this back to look nice. And then I mark on the original body where I need the new holes to be. And what that does is it shifts that whole fender, I don't know if you can see it, all the way down, which stinks because now my running board isn't going to exactly match up, but that's better than having the back end look silly. So now the back end is going to look really flush and clean. Right here you can see if I left it, this seam here would not match up and that would hang down like that. I don't know why certain cars and certain aftermarket fenders do that, but every 64, well, I've only done, this is my second 64, it's been that way. And then I had some rust in here and I cut those out and I patched them. This was all wobbly and full of Bondo. I wish it were prettier, but I'm gonna go ahead and Bondo that in, fill that in, and I just had to get rid of the rust. And we'll go ahead and clean that all up, Bondo that, and you'll never notice that's there. One of my biggest successes, I feel like, is that I went ahead and cut the front out. It was this, hopefully this hood will hold, but this was hit and this was all gone. And luckily I looked at like CIPI or whatever it is, CIP1, they had this whole front section and I was like, sweet. And it was only like $350 with shipping. And I could buy another car, but then I'd have to cut another car and I didn't want to do that. So what I did is I fit this in and I used the old gas tank rails. They're still a little bit there, you can see. And I slid this baby right over those gas tank rails and then put this right in place. I still haven't figured out how to cut things perfectly. And so what I had to do is cut it, I cut it too far back, which I was like, dang it. But that allowed me to adjust it. And what you get when you do that is you're able to space things out a little bit better. It's not beautiful. I wish I were a pro. I'm just kind of making it up as I go. And I mean, that's what you have to do. In here, I didn't weld these flush when I put them back in. I probably should have, I may put some metal in there, I don't know, but I wanted to use that to clamp it down so I could hold this piece in place. These aftermarket panels are just kind of a crapshoot, not to be crass, but they're kind of tough and you got to really pay attention to what you're doing. You've got to get measurements. I'll tell you the secret, get the measurements of the tank. So I found another 64. I got this measurement, whatever that would be, this side, can't think right now, and this side. I measured these both sides, side to side, and then I measured a diagonal because I took a math class, and then I made sure that was right, Once I had that right, then I put my fenders on to make sure my fenders matched. And then I put my hood on. The biggest thing I see with these is that they get a sag right here. When you look at a car that's been hit, you'll see a sag point and there'll be a gap. So I'll show you what I did. I went ahead and my sags are not that bad. I mean, it's pretty, you might see maybe a little bit right there, but that's amazing. I just had to pinch myself. I couldn't believe it came together that good, especially with aftermarket junk. And it's not junk. I mean, it's for 350 bucks, you can't beat that. So that gap is even better on the driver's side. So that's the side I get in, so I don't care about the other side. So this is where I'm at with this bug. Somebody used these fenders and filled some of the horn stuff, and I'll pull that all out. I'm hoping by springtime, I'll have this all ready to go so I can shoot it and start throwing headliners in, fabric. And I'm gonna build, so far right now, I'm gonna build a Speedster out of this thing. I think it'd be really cool to have a Sea Blue 64 Speedster with a red Pegasus on the door. I don't know about a number on the side, but this will be pretty cool. One of the things I'm kind of bummed is because I was building a Baja, I fixed these down here with just bare sheet metal. And now I'm gonna have to come back, buy the patch panel and patch that in with some correct metal here because I want to use anchors for my running boards. So this car is not perfect by any means. These floor pans, I just laid in here, cut them out, laid them in. They're out of a 19, like, they're basically an oval window, and you can tell by their oval, but right there, those little pins. So this car has a 19, probably 56 pan on it. Those are pans that I got out of 56. And then I also have the apron back here, and that's off a 19, probably 60. So this car is kind of a hodgepodge. I've got 1970 seats right here, probably like 68, 69, and I've got 65 tops. I'll probably try to find a pair of seats. If this car really gets looking real good and I feel like, man, I need better seats, I'm gonna be willing to do that. And that's the hard part, is finding seats nowadays, guys. It's getting tough. I used to think, oh, it's so easy, and I'd sell them, and now I need them. So don't sell your stuff, and if you have it, don't necessarily sell it just because you don't have a use for it that day. I don't like to keep junk around, and so that's kind of my deal. Here's the motor that's going in it. It's a 40 horse, original motor. We picked it up, my son picked it up for 800 bucks. You can't beat that. I gave him 12, figured he deserved a little bit extra for keeping it for me. And that'll go in this car. Runs great. This car had an early 50s beam in it. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you probably can't see it now, but this had an early beam in it, and it has no dampener for the front end. I don't know if you can see, usually there's a dampener right here. And this steering box that's down in here, this is a new one. It's Chinese, they're cheap. I know I probably shouldn't put it in there, but for now it'll just get me by till I can afford a nice one. But this had an actual like 1958 steering box, oval steering box on it. So the front end's really an early beam, but it did have the correct drums. So that's one thing you guys don't, I never realized, but drums change all the time. So if you got a 58, it's gonna be different than say a 64. They just kept changing things. And there's a lot of nuances in these cars, as you probably all know. So there it is, the Sea Blue 64, probably overtalked, but there it is. I'm gonna need a new steering wheel too. So I hope this one turns out really nice. I love this color. I can't wait to put a hula girl, surf girl on the hood, or on the dash. I think it'll look really sweet. So anyway, there it is. There was my Baja that's now turned into an actual bug.